Let's talk about a corporate then. Let's get in a corporate conversation. Before that, we have the management of Acme Solar Holdings joining in. Nikhil Dhingra, who's the CEO of the company, joins in to discuss the road ahead for the company. Thanks a lot, Nikhil, for joining in. When we spoke last, this was immediately after your third quarter results. You had spoken about 7 gigawatts capacity by FY28 with revenues, or rather with EBITDA, significantly above 4,000 crores by FY28 itself. Now we have a note that has come in from Nuvama. They believe that your contracted portfolio by 2030 could be 10 gigawatts and your EBITDA, which you said would be substantially above 4,000 crores, they've expected this number to be over 7,000 crores. Could you comment on the same? Do you think 7,000 crores plus EBITDA is a possibility?
Yes, it's a definite possibility. Of course, the first step is for us to reach the 7 gigawatts by 2028, which we discussed last time, like you rightly mentioned. And post that, we are, of course, slated to win some more bids, which will take our contracted capacity to 10 gigawatts. Even on the strength of the 7 gigawatts we have in terms of the generation estimates and the tariffs we have. So this is something which was, I think, 7,000 crore by 2030. It will be earlier than that, but yeah, that is definitely possible.
Okay, all right. So you're saying 7,000 crores is on 2028, right? FY28.
No, so in terms of the exact numbers, is a function of the charging of these capacities. We are targeting to go live with around 7 gigawatts by 2028. So in terms of the revenue and EBITDA, like we said, we don't give any guidance for 2028. But of course, you asked me that if all these assets are live, then of course the 7,000 crores by 2030, which Nuvama is saying is definitely doable. Of course, for the 7 gigawatt exact number, we have not yet communicated. So I'll not be able to do that. But 10 gigawatt, if we are in 2030, 7 gigawatt plus is definitely the number which I can definitely say.
What percent of your portfolio is contracted via PPAs as of now?
As of now, the signed PPA, basically we have two stages of contracted PPA. One is where the PPAs is signed, and the second stage is where the LOAs are yet given, the PPAs are yet to be signed. So we are close to around 5.1 odd gigawatts of overall capacity where the PPA is signed, and around 1.89 which is yet to be signed, which we are expecting to be signed in another 3 to 6 months. So that's where, so we are planning our Capex also accordingly in phase 1 and phase 2. And that's how we are saying that by calendar year 26 end, we will achieve 5 gigawatts of capacity. And by calendar year 27 end, we will achieve around 7 gigawatt, which is essentially FY28.
What are likely the prices at which these PPAs will be signed? Because, I'm looking at the difference between wind, solar, FDRE, hybrid. Solar is the least of them all. So, yes. If you could roughly give us a sense, 2.4 to 3.6 is the broad range that everyone's been looking at. Your current PPAs which have been signed, what is the average realization for that? And the 1.9 which is likely to happen in the next 3 to 6 months, if you could give us a sense at what likely prices are these going to be signed at?
Yes, I'll give you that. So I'll give you the overall portfolio, weighted average portfolio tariff also. So around 2.5 gigawatt, more than 2.5 gigawatt, which is currently operational, has a weighted average tariff of around 3.5. That's the current tariff of the operational assets. Then the assets till 5 gigawatt again has a tariff of around, average tariff of around 3.6. And bulk of the capacity which we are building right now is in a hybrid and FDRE. And even from 5 to 7 gigawatt, the tariff will be in this range, around between 3.5 to 4 rupees. So the bids which are coming, there is no pure solar bid which is expected to be launched. MOP came up with the guidelines recently that there will be no pure solar bid without storage. So there will be a storage element in each of the bids. And you will see that the plain solar will not be there. The tariff for, of course, the solar plus storage is higher than the range you mentioned. So we are expecting, and now that ALCM is also come into being, you will see the tariffs being slightly higher than the 2.44 or 2.6, what you saw before for the plain solar.
And I think back of an envelope calculation suggests that from around 60, 70 lakh per megawatt, you'll move to more than a crore per megawatt in the time to come. And that's how you'll get closer to around that 7,000 crores of total EBITDA. Give us a couple of more details. One positive is your DSO days, which effectively means the time that you receive your payments. That's come down from 230 days to around, I think, around 70, 80 days approximately. Can you hold at these levels in terms of DSO days? Point number one. Point number two is, you have a very ambitious plan, sir, but what about your funding? What is the current debt on your books? And at peak, what does it go to?
Yes. So first on the DSO days, you're very right. Of course, the government LPS scheme played a huge role in getting us down on the receivable days. For the last 2-3 years, none of our customers have delayed their payment, except for Andhra Pradesh, which had a regulatory issue in terms of the delays. So if you isolate Andhra Pradesh, our receivable days are actually very, very lower than even 60 days, because the central counterparties like SECI and others are basically taking cash discount and paying in less than the required period. So we are actually, working capital is on the very lower side. And it is expected to be like that because our contracted capacity, which is beyond the current operational capacity, is all with the central counterparties, where we are actually getting in less than 60 days, which is the required payment period. So you will see that these DSO days will improve as we operationalize more capacity from the current number, which is anyway a good number. In terms of the Capex plans and the financing, like we mentioned in our quarterly presentation, 16,000-17,000 crores of debt for the Capex, which we need to do in calendar year 26. And of course, we raised money through IPO. We did a 2,900 crore fundraise, out of which 2,400 crores was primary. So, and of course, we had a lot of accruals prior to that. In terms, so that is good enough for whatever we need to do in the phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1 Capex is around 17,000 crores, which is, like I said, will be funded 75-25 debt equity, which we have currently in terms of the complete arrangement is there. And all of these are PPA signed, so there is nothing stopping us from doing the Capex and getting these assets online in the requisite timeline. Yeah, and all of these are long-term contracted PPAs with long-term debt.
All right, we take that point. Thank you so much, Nikhil, for joining in and giving us the outlook on your business. 7 gigawatts is the first target. Thereafter, 10 gigawatts, 7,000 crore EBITDA by 2030 is a possibility, perhaps before that as well, with reducing DSO days. And, at the same time, you are looking at weighted average tariff to be in the 3.5 to 4 range once the solar storage plus, the power itself comes in for the PPAs that you're expecting over the next 3 to 6 months for 1.9 gigawatts.